for the delay, guys. I'm working on actually a very big rumor for this time of year. So I may have a call or a couple calls that come through the show. So I'll let you know. I will reveal more if I can. It has a little bit to do with my blog that I put up there about the part of it. Hold on. I'll hold off. But you guys talk for a second. Mike and Russ, you got a question?
All right, Russ, I have to ask a question because you were at the game, so you felt the atmosphere and the reaction. It was uncolored by the broadcast and what people were saying. So it's 2-0. It's top of the ninth, and the crowd is chanting Harvey, Harvey.
Right.
Based on what the Mets bullpen has done throughout the series, I think, and I know that there is room for Terry Collins to be criticized for a number of things in the series, but I think it was the right move to bring Harvey out for the ninth. Where I question it, and what I want to know about you is, after he walks the first batter, that's when I pull him out. I don't allow Hosmer to hit the double.
Right. This is like a threefold thing. I agree with what you said. We just heard the Fox report that Harvey told Collins, I want to be the guy that goes out there. I'd let him go out there. I also wouldn't have let him go beyond anybody who reached base, and I would have told him that before he went out. Mm-hmm. But here's the caveat. As bad as Travis d'Arnaud has been this entire series, you had a lead. I don't care how much these players like throwing to him, he can't throw anybody out. And the minute you see that there's going to be a runner on base, you know what? I would have done a double switch, and I would have brought in a catcher and a pitcher, because at that point, you knew that that guy on first was stealing, and I thought he might even steal third, and I knew that that was going to be a catalyst. I mean, I haven't brought out anybody the entire playoffs. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm pleading ignorance here. Who is the backup catcher?
Plawecki, and he's good defensively, and earlier in the year, he was fine with the pitchers. I think this is just where Terry was asleep at the wheel and was just going with that lineup. Hey, I'm just going to keep filling out the same lineup.
He can't hit his weight, though.
No, yeah. but I didn't ask him to hit. I just asked him to come in and play the position.
Well, conversely,
I was balls and probably 5 stolen bases. Dan, is that about fair?
Yeah.
Conversely, I was a little surprised, and Ned Yost is not exactly known as a great tactician in terms of manager. But I was a little surprised that after Perez had that hit in the 12th, that he pinch ran Dyson for him. Now, in retrospect, it turned out to be a great move because you said d'Arnaud can't throw anybody out. Dyson steals second and then eventually scores the winning run on the Cologne single. But I mean, okay, I picked the Royals in 6. They won in 5. I'm a little surprised by that. How much heat is Terry Collins getting today for the failings of the Mets in the series?
Not enough. I mean, he's getting it from the media. He's getting it maybe 50% from the fans. But here's the thing. All right, so you never manage for tomorrow. And in both of these last 2 losses, he managed for tomorrow. He put Tyler Clippard in, even though he knew Clippard wasn't good, and said after the game, well, we were kind of hoping he can get a batter or 2 out so we wouldn't have to use Familia because we didn't know if Familia could go the next day. Well, again, you got to win that day sometimes, and this was an elimination game, right? So why does Cologne come out? Why wasn't it DeGrom? Why wasn't it Syndergaard? I mean, it was DeGrom's day to throw. Why wasn't it him? He's way better than Cologne, even in that situation. Why did you let it get out of hand? Why did Addison Reed stay out there way too long? Like, basically, there was a point he stopped managing. When you have bases loaded, right? And the thing about Cespedes is crazy because I've never seen anything like it. It's like their unnatural moment. Like the natural would get up there on one leg and hit a homer.
Right.
He couldn't, but that's with the bases loaded, right? But why did you let him bat? I mean, you could have definitely pinched hit for him. We thought he would. He let him stay in. How come 2 innings before that and that inning, no doubles, no hit and run ever? No bunting, no squeeze, no thought of that. There were runs they left on the table for a lack of managing. We're happy about a good season, but it still doesn't mean it was managed well, right, Dan?
No, I agree. I'm also completely over baseball and ready to talk hockey.
Yep,
yeah,
that's fine.
I just wanted to touch on.
Real quick, did you guys see? It's an older tweet from Roberto Luongo, but someone sent him an autograph, like a picture in the mail to get autographed, right? And he said he put a picture of just going through my mail today, and they wrote a letter saying how they're one of his biggest fans, blah 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 blah. Okay, sure. They accidentally sent a picture of Corey Schneider. So he gets, and Luongo's a stand-up guy.
Oh yeah.
He returns an 8x10 photo of Luongo signed, and he sends that picture back, and he wrote on it, "I'm not Corey Schneider." He's by far the best athlete to follow on Twitter.
Yeah. He's great. There's no question about it. I'll tell you what. I'll turn this around to hockey, and a guy who I do a show with, Anthony Mingione, Eck knows him, had I guess it was a tweet or a post from Sportsnet online where it said Matt Harvey dominates and they beat the Royals to force a Game 6 in the World Series. It's on my Facebook timeline. So if that really was out there, that's kind of sad too. Nobody needed to see that today.
Yeah, I saw it. Like, they posted it in the top of the 9th inning. They posted it right when Harvey was coming out for the top of the 9th. It was almost like it was a curse. I saw that, and I mean, it was like, oh boy. I mean,
what's going to help the Mets here? That's
a Dewey versus Truman, or beats Truman moment.
What's going to help them now is they won't have to make emotional investments to Murphy and Cespedes.
Right.
That's actually not a bad thing. Overpay. No, let someone else overpay those players.
Yep. You're right. Fair enough. Let's talk hockey.
Emotional investments. Holy cow! This sport of baseball.
Like Brian Bickle.
Yeah.
When you pay a guy because he did so good in the playoffs, but he really isn't that good.
Right. No, that's a good comparison.
It is.
How's my mic, Dan? Is my mic okay?
Your mic sounds good.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Yeah, I approve of that.
Good. I think it gives me my nice dulcet tones are coming through.
I like this new mic.
I think it's much better.
I think it's much better too. It's a big improvement.
I can see the Shure mic, and I have Shure mics when I do remotes. They're great.
Yeah. No, this is a good one.
I'm the best mic.
You are the best mic with a good mic. But this mic, someone told me was perfect for my voice. So I talked to an engineer. So I'm like, okay, this.
No, it really sounds good.
Cool, awesome. Supposed to make me sound like I sound to me, which is way better than I sound usually. So to you, I don't sound nearly as cool as I sound to me. So now I'm supposed to sound more to me, or to you.
Love the Halloween costume, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks.
I was at a concert Saturday night. I saw The Darkness.
Oh, you saw The Darkness.
And they were awesome.
Did anybody see Ghosts on Colbert? Holy hell.
No.
Do you know the band Ghosts?
I do.
I don't.
Just search it on YouTube. Ghosts are intense. I mean, talk about they're like a modern day mixture of Spinal Tap and Kiss and something even weirder than that. And they're really cool. I mean, their music is they are completely made up to look like ghosts.
They're pretty cool.
Is my video really weird? Because I'm like really delayed here.
No,
you're fine.
Okay, good. Because I'm looking to me like I'm like a couple seconds behind
just
me.
because I've never asked you, the awards behind you, are those the ones from the Canadian Cereal mail-in?
Yeah. No, they were part of McDonald's. Did them?
McDonald's. Okay, it was a McDonald's one.
Yeah, they are so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've always wanted little trophies like that. So, this is how much cooler McDonald's in Canada is than McDonald's in the US.
And the Tim Hortons cards are beautiful. I got some sent to me this week, so I'd like to thank.
I've told you that the coolest thing about the
hashtag that Mike fail, by the way.
What?
What?
The Tim Horton cards. We're gonna hashtag with that Mike fail.
Yeah.
The coolest thing about McDonald's in Canada is the fact that they sell the double Big Mac.
That sounds repulsive.
There's the double quarter pounder in the U.S. and they have that too, but they also have the double Big Mac, which is 4 patties.
Also, we are 3 days away from Upper Deck Series 1, the most anticipated release of a hockey card set probably in 10 years.
Yeah, since 2000, since Crosby.
Yep.
Okay. Wow, that's exciting.
I'm going to be covered in wrappers this week.
Sorry, I'm getting crazy text here. Sorry.
Let's start the show.
Let's start the show. Hold on 1 second.
Mike, go second.
Yeah, dream on.
Hold on 1 second. All right. Okay, here we go. The date is the 2nd of November.
That is correct.
Okay. Hello, Hockey World. It's Monday, November 2nd, 2015.
I'm Michael Agello.
I'm Dan Petru.
I'm Russ Cohen from Sportsology.
And I'm Eklund, and you're watching the Hockey Buzzcast on HockeyBuzz.com, episode number 370, for those of you keeping score at home. This is the podcast that comes to you every Monday through Friday at 1 o'clock, and this, in my opinion, say what you want about any other group we have together. This is the group. This is the group that brings it every time, and we'll be bringing it to you for the next couple days.
Yes, uncensored.
So even if you don't like it, you're stuck.
Yeah, this is the group you're stuck with for the next few days.
Yep, sorry.
You guys missed the when I had Kevin Allen on. I actually had the card here that I ended up putting up here, which is this one. This came up on my thing. Kelly Eklund.
Nice. That's awesome.
So that's like,
Yeah,
I don't remember him, but he's a player.
I just go by Tonelli.
Yeah. But we have the box here. Kevin liked the box a lot.
Yeah, his alternate name was Sinisalo.
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 Well, I grew up a Whaler fan, so I'd have to be a Whaler name probably. Maybe Kron.
Kevin only likes that box because he wrote a lot of the card backs. It's the only reason he likes that box.
He did. Kevin actually, he told us that he said this on the air too, so I can say it again. He used to write the backs of these, and they, little things like,
That's awesome. I would love that job.
Chris Dahlquist, for example, like one-time Calgary Flame, Chris Dahlquist. On the back here it says Chris is a quiet, but I can't read because I can't read anymore because I have to wear special glasses to read. So anyway, it's a little tiny paragraph.
Quiet but unassuming Calgary Flame. He
got paid $25.
Who's crappy in his own zone?
Was it $25 or $250 a card? $25 a card.
I would take that.
That's some big money.
To write, for an entire hockey thing, that's not bad at all.
Do that. Hey, Upper Deck, if you're watching right now,
I volunteer.
Russ and I, we're all volunteering our services.
Yep.
I did a card set last year. I wrote the card backs for Leaf Prospect Hockey. I will not divulge what I got paid, but I did do that. Yes.
You did. Wow. Interesting.
Actually, I have
the back of those. I noticed the detail in those cards. I thought it was well written. The cards themselves suck, but.
Well, that was nice. Yeah. Nice of you to think that.
Yeah. There you go.
I hate cards that have because of licensing they have to white out players' uniforms.
Oh,
yeah,
I know.
That's
I understand.
so stupid.
Right.
Yeah, there's certain things should be. All right, well, let's get on the show. I want to start with the rumor. Like I said before, if you're just joining us, the reason we started a little bit late today was not my normal procrastination. Today was actually working hard on chasing a rumor, and I was calling people till the very last second. I just left for a second to talk to somebody else. I may leave at any point now. There's something going down. It looks pretty good. It's looking very very good. It looks like the first big deal of the year. There's actually two going on. One that I've sort of mentioned to a degree already is possibly Louis Eriksson plus for Cam Fowler. That's a deal I've been chasing for a while. It's an interesting deal because it does give, Anaheim's looking for something to spark, and they have given Bruce Boudreau a vote of confidence, which means he'll be fired tomorrow. But they've still given him a vote of confidence.
Oh yeah.
And
To be expected.
And the thing is this that the Ducks are struggling, but they're not getting blown out of the water in these games.
Right, yeah, that's the thing. They're losing a lot of close games.
Yeah, they are. You know what this is? This is karma, because last year the Ducks won a ton of close games, and if you remember, they set a record last year for 1-goal victories. That was just astonishing. So
are they not as good as we thought they were?
They are not as good as we thought they were.
So here's one of the cards, Jeremy Waugh, and then I wrote the back.
Oh, nice.
They used me for that. So
did you get a credit on there or no? Just showed it.
No, you just get paid, which is fine.
I think that one of the contributing factors to a possibility of Fowler being traded is the fact that Hampus Lindholm is on the last year of his entry-level deal.
Right.
Sami Vatanen is on the last year of his deal. He's an RFA.
Yep.
They extended Dupré for 5 years at $3.7 million, and Fowler's making $4 million for another 2 years.
Right.
So if their calculation is that they're going to sign those other two defensemen long-term, like has been the habit of most teams right now, 5 or 6 years for these defensemen, then they may have to clear out salary with Fowler. Now, I like Fowler as a defenseman. I think he's a really good defenseman. But if you get Eriksson, you get a guy who can help you this year up front, and then his contract expires and he's a UFA. But I would think that Boston would probably have to give up maybe one of the players that they drafted with one of the 3 first-round picks this year, or a really good prospect.
Yeah.
To get this deal going. But
I don't think Fowler's gotten the. I don't think he's reached his offensive potential. Maybe as we thought he would.
No.
I was expecting more of an offensive flair from him.
He's a bit of an enigma, he's definitely, and I don't know if it's necessarily his fault. It's just the opinion on him, Russ, is very odd. Like, when you talk to people and how long he took for him to get drafted, it just continues.
All right, so it started at the draft with people saying, hey, he's not tough enough, right?
Right.
And I remembered when I interviewed him during the Stanley Cup, which was in Philly, he had a black eye. And I said, I'm going to take a picture of this, Cam, so people understand that you are tough enough. And he still went 12, and he was better than that. But, if you look at his years, 2 years ago, he had 36 points, plus 15. Last year, 34 points. This year, he's only got 2 points, but the team stinks. I can't put all that on Fowler. I think he'll be a 40, 45-point guy. He's only 23.
That's true.
I'm really hesitant in trading him. I would, unless I get a bigger bounty than even what was discussed.
You know what, Russ? It's almost like maybe his offense isn't where we thought it would be, but he's better defensively than we thought he would be.
Yes.
So maybe it just averages out to he's just a nice two-way defenseman and not the offensive firepower we thought we were going to get.
Right, and I think you're right.
But at 23, I agree. I think you're rolling the dice if you move him.
Well, the funny thing is, and this is always the criticism of teams that promote defensemen at age 18, whether they stunt their growth down the line. I mean, we always said that about Luke Shen with the Leafs. But you remember, and this is going back a little bit, so I use this as an example, Russ, and I'm sure you'll remember, it was when Glenn Wesley was brought up really early by the Boston Bruins.
Oh, God, don't mention that name.
And had a fantastic year. His rookie year, I think they went to the Cup final that year, and everybody thought he was going to be the next great defenseman. And he basically never improved from that 18-year-old player. I think it sort of stunted his growth to be in the show so early in his career. And I think that's what Fowler made it as an 18-year-old with Randy Carlyle as the coach. He's had some good years, but I don't think he's ever fulfilled the promise that a lot of people thought he was going to. And maybe this is a case where they think, okay, we know what Cam Fowler is. We don't know what Lindholm is. We don't know what Vatanen is. And we can safely trade Fowler and get something for him because we know where the ceiling is for him, but we don't know what the ceiling is for the other guys.
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, if I were going to look to move out money, because it's not like Fowler makes a ton.
$4 million.
Right. 3.75 a year, I would move out Silfverberg instead.
Yeah.
Because I would rather get the offense from the blue line and say, all right, Jakob Silfverberg has been a disappointment. Maybe he'll do better somewhere else.
Another enigma.
He's got 2 points in 11 games, and he only does one thing. Fowler does 2 things, as everybody's pointed out.
Well, I hesitate to bring it up because it came.
I do more than 2 things. I just want to throw that out there.
Ask your wife.
You're a multitasker.
Oh, man.
Fowler kind of reminds me of a situation where he could end up being like a Nick Leddy, where he goes to another place.
That's a very good comparison.
With a much bigger role, and all of a sudden you see what you were waiting to see.
And for a team like Boston, I mean, who they get rid of Boychuk. I don't think they've filled the gap since they got rid of him.
No, they haven't.
Seidenberg is probably at near the end of it with all the injuries that he's had. I mean, Fowler is under contract for a reasonable amount. The cap hit would be around the same as Eriksson's if that deal comes to pass. So it would help out the Bruins immensely because I think their blue line is their weak spot right now, and they're actually having a better year than I thought that they were going to, Russ, because they're actually playing consistently.
It's early.
Well, there is an interesting stat I saw somewhere that let's try muting each other so we can see if we can get this echo under control. I don't know. I think we're going to have to go to headphones permanently, guys. I think all of us are going to.
I'll throw them on. I came prepared to that.
Thanks. There was the Tuukka Rask. His save percentage when on the penalty kill is around 720. I mean that's a staggering number, and that's the kind of thing that will just absolutely kill a team. I mean, you can't have your goalie, who they often say is your best penalty killer. Well, in this case, it appears Tuukka Rask is their worst penalty killer, because the 720 save percentage on the power play penalty kill is just horrendous. I mean, and that's killing them. Go ahead, Mike.
It is, but I mean, you also have to. I mean, you can't lay the blame completely on Rask for that kind of. I mean, yes, he's got to stop more pucks, but the penalty killing has got to be better. You got to have players that will step in front of shots and block shots. You got to.
Oh, for sure, no question. I mean, and I'm not trying to, but I'm just saying you can't be in the 700s. You know, you just
No,
can't.
Was he bailed out? Was he bailed out a lot over the years by Chara? Probably, and now Chara can't fill that role anymore.
Right.
Yeah, the thing with the Bruins is they're winning a lot of 5-3 games right now, 5-4 games, 6-4 games. So what happens when that offense goes through a dry spell, which we all expect it will even out? They're giving up a lot of chances and a lot of goals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, they really are. They really are. So Saturday night. All right, Toronto and you know while all of us were sharing our Halloweening, we were out about Halloween was unbelievable. It was one of those days as a parent. I had 25 things to do literally, and it was more than insane. Like 3 soccer games. My daughter had 2. My son had 1. My son got screwed more than any other. I mean, any bad call. I'm going back to Leon Stickle.
Wow.
This call was that epic, and it's a 10-year-old team, so I just didn't know what to say. It's not like you can scream about it. I'm one of 3 coaches, and the only one who has any soccer coaching experience. So, but my daughter's team, like I said, I'm used to travel. I'm used to this high intense travel soccer team, and he's just a rec player, and my son's really just a geeky nerdy kid, and this is the only sport he plays. But his team got so screwed on him anyway. So I had a crazy Halloween. I come back. You know, we have the outside, the giant cat. My wife and I have this big party to go to in the city that we would go to every year. I sent you guys a picture of that. I won't be sharing that with anyone else, but that was fun.
If anybody wants to see it, hit me up. No, just kidding. I'm joking.
My beautiful wife. So then, but before I go to the city, I am watching the pregame of Hockey Night in Canada on the NHL Network, and I see this. So this is the little bit of the pregame.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
Darcy Oak, who's an illusionist. And here we go. I'm going to share this with you guys. Hold on one second. And this to me was really weird. Like, there was an article last week, and I didn't bring it up, that said, you know, I was going to. It was on my list of things, but I never got to it. Is Sportsnet killing Hockey Night in Canada? Was the article title. And I don't know that they are. I mean, they're doing an okay job, but this was questionable. This is really weird. So here we go. We're going to watch a little bit of this here. I will get it.
Mysterious. It's the source of all true art.
As the ovum works its way down the fallopian tube. I'm just kidding. Sorry.
I would never approve this song.
That's what I'm saying, right?
That's my first critique.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a health video song. At this point, I have no idea what the hell's going on. Like, I'm watching.
They lost me with the close-up of the eye.
They're trying too hard.
I'm asking my mom, are we watching? Because my mom is watching the kids. Are we watching Hockey Night in Canada, or what's going on here?
Well, I have to say this because and I've never met him, but I'll wait until this is over with. Boy.
I'm like sad right now. I'm not excited for hockey.
On full
Why? Because it's
like hockey's all a trick.
It's just boring. And stupid. Sorry.
We're almost there, Mike. We're almost done.
This is what happens when no one tells a producer no.
This is Hockey Night in Canada.
I know.
This is like Monday Night Football.
I could have my uncle do a coin trick in my living room. I mean,
yeah.
But Phil Kessel.
The hand is quicker than the eye. If you're not paying attention.
I can take my ring off too.
Whoa.
Yeah, try it. See what your wife does.
Actually, I don't think I can.
This is awful.
For 6 years, Kessel performed his art in Toronto.
And now we'll make him disappear from Toronto.
Thankfully, no. But I have to say this. I'm not friendly. I'm not friends with this person, but I have had communications with him over Twitter, and complimented him on his work. Hockey Night in Canada had a guy named Tim Thompson who did their pregame vignettes,
Mm-hmm.
and he was masterful.
Unbelievably good.
He was unbelievably good.
Unbelievably good.
I remember the one that he did for the conference final, Pittsburgh-Boston, in 2013, using the Radiohead song "Karma Police," and it was incredible.
Yeah.
The video was incredible. The interspersing of the video with the music, it made sense. It was great work, and
we follow each other on Twitter, and he's a really good guy. And also, he definitely last year he did one for the Montreal Canadiens. That was just on his for fun, but on his own. That was incredible.
And he did something for the Maple Leafs this year for celebrating their showing. I think they showed at the beginning of every game in arena. I mean, fantastic work, and he was not hired by Sportsnet. I mean, I'm not going over. I don't want to slam them, but this is not up to what the standards should be of Hockey Night in Canada, and I think they do a pretty good job. There are a lot of people at Sportsnet that I like, and I think they're really good. I like George Stroumboulopoulos. I like Jeff Merrick. I
think George Stroumboulopoulos is fantastic. I totally agree. Like his interviews when they have the roundtable interviews with players are awesome. He is very good.
He actually gets the players to say something, which
he does. He actually is cool enough for the players. They actually think he's cool, and they hang out and they actually.
But
I think their late coverage is better than their early coverage.
It's more relaxed. It's more relaxed.
Interesting. It might be trying too hard.
I really think they're trying to stuff too much into things. I actually think that one of the things that they've sort of done away with. They used to have the after 40 minutes, the satellite hot stove, the round table with 3 or 4 reporters. Now it's Elliot Friedman and Damian Cox, and they do a fine job. But I think I liked more the opinions, and they sort of cut that off after like maybe 2 or 3 minutes instead of having a round table for 10 minutes. It was really interesting. It caught up everybody with the news of the day, and it's not now. I think it's just like here's a little segment, we go to something else. They are trying too hard. They're trying to push everything into that 2.5 to 3 hour broadcast, and I think right now they just need to rethink things a little bit. But
they don't show a ton of highlights either, too. If you're trying to get updated on the league, they don't show a ton of highlights.
No, they just show the board of all the different scores. They don't go to each game.
Right.
I'll sum it up with this. On Saturday night, I was at a bar in Queens. The 2 best costumes I saw, Charlie Brown, and then a guy in the street was a Leafs fan. I swear to God, there was a guy in the Leafs jersey, and I just laughed. I looked at him and laughed, and he got it. I was laughing.
I was in the city. I just have to share this too. It's so funny you say it because I have a real funny story about that kind of thing. This off the topic for a second. I was in the city, and I always stay in the city. My wife and I stay in the city for Halloween night. And there's no better thing than staying in the city on Halloween night. Like it is literally.
Like if you go for the parade, I've gone to the parade in Greenwich Village. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, no, we're in Philly, but yeah, even in Philly though, I mean.
You said the city. There's only.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's a
the
foul.
city for us is Philadelphia.
There's a flag on the play.
Yeah.
Well, you guys, New Yorkers, but anyway. But the city of Philadelphia has, this is adult Halloween. So you go out and it's great, and the costumes are fantastic, and not in the women are something to look at. So it's a fun night. So you're out there and you're enjoying yourself. The next morning though is the funniest thing in the world because as we're driving home, you literally see the giant red, crown doing the walk of shame, that kind of thing. It's just very funny. It's just completely hilarious to see the people the next day who've stayed over with people walking home in the city in their Halloween costumes.
Well, the most hilarious thing that I saw on Saturday, because I was at the Leafs-Penguins game, was in arena they had they showed like who has the best costume, and they flashed about 10 people in the crowd, and the winner of the best costume were a pair of guys who were ketchup and mustard, which was pretty appropriate for Phil Kessel being in town.
You know what they should have done? They should have put on a big old orange parking codes and then just said Maple Leaf defensemen.
There you go.
I was at the Islander Devil game earlier that day, and there was a guy in front of me that says John Tavares was traded. I'm like, what are you talking about? And he shows me, like a Bob McKenzie tweet. I'm like, that can't be real.
Right.
He goes, it says it. I'm like, dude, I will look it up. It can't be real.
I'll look for the check mark.
But it was buzzing throughout the arena a little bit. And that's just the craziness that goes on sometimes.
It was probably a tweet from 2007 when he was traded in the OHL or something.
Well, the thing was, the Islanders didn't help the situation when he didn't play,
right?
Late scratch, and they refused to say what was wrong with him.
I I think there's got to be some transparency with injuries. Can you just say that John Tavares has the flu? We all know he does. Can you?
Everyone gets the flu. It's okay. We understand.
I don't understand. Like, look, they act like the Patriots when it comes to injuries, and you haven't won 4 Stanley Cups in a long time. So it's like,
I think what helps a fake tweet like that work.
Sure, absolutely. I think the league needs to create a little more transparency.
Well, the 2 funniest moments this year. Well, an old one that's great is Holmgren with his what's the injury? What's the injury, Israel? Oh, it's upper neck, above the neck.
Upper neck, yeah.
Above the neck.
Yep.
Above the neck. So it's his head? No, it's just above the neck. I'm like, okay. But then the Couturier this year, Russ. I mean, that was. You should tell that one because you were there for this.
I didn't know. I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there for it?
No.
Well, the story. You told me the story actually. So go ahead and you can tell it.
I didn't tell you the story.
Oh, okay. Then you know. Oh, you know who's Bill. Anyway, the story goes like this. We wondered if Couturier had a concussion after the hit. You know, we remember the famous hit.
Right. I was there for that. Yes.
From what's his name?
Yeah, from Ronaldo.
Ronaldo. Right. Thanks.
Yeah, clean hit. Right.
And he wasn't allowed to talk about it. He's like, I'm not going to discuss, whether I have a concussion or not. It's not, not at liberty to say that. And so someone asked, so have you ever had any concussions before? And he said, no, this is my first one.
That's awesome.
That's great. Yes, yeah, I would have laughed if I was there for that.
And then he laughed, and it was like, and then because you realize how ridiculous this is. It is.
What I like is the fact that all of a sudden the Leafs have become very secretive. This is part of the Lou Lamoriello changeover. They've become very secretive when it comes to injuries. It used to be, we get lower body, upper body. Then over the last couple of weeks, it's been an undisclosed injury, or I'm waiting for somebody to say general body soreness. I mean,
right.
Jonathan Bernier was banged up. So what is it going to be on the injury report?
Haunted by the ghost of William Taft.
Here's the funny thing about this, and they all stole it from the NFL, and here's what makes it wrong.
Yeah, they did.
Every team knows what the opposing guy's injuries are.
Yeah.
Practice,
yes, there's no secrets.
They all know. This is the fans that get shut out.
Mm-hmm.
And the bettors, those of us who are trying to figure out our DraftKings lineups.
Yep.
We're getting screwed.
The fans that get shafted on that.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, that's I'm with you there. It really has gotten, and it the fear is that they're going to go after something like this. If you got a sore hand, he's going to slash your hand. But what
everybody
happens?
Knows. Everybody knows Tyler Johnson played with a broken hand.
Right, and they're going to slash the hand, and they're going to slash other things too. My argument is if they just think it's his hand, or just release something that it's like his right hand, and even though it's his left hand.
I'll counter the argument. When Ryan McDonough had the bad ankle in the playoffs, so we saw him, and I was sat very low for that game in the press box, that Game 7, and he went and he skated and he turned around, so you knew it was his foot or his ankle or his knee. Nobody went after him. Nobody on Tampa went after him.
Well, I would be in favor of a lack of disclosure in the playoffs for that very reason. Teams when they play against each other in a 7-game series, they're going to try to zero in on anything.
But we all zeroed in when he went in between whistles to test it out for the first time.
Yeah, you can tell when a guy skates on the ice what he's testing. I mean, it's not a joke. I mean,
it didn't take much. I mean, it was one of 3 things, and it was all
And that was it. So, yeah, I'm with you. I completely agree. Oh, this was the best Halloween costume I saw hockey related, though. I'll show you this. This was good. This was sent in by a viewer of ours. So here it is. His kid is apparently a Minnesota Wild fan, and so he actually dressed him up.
That's awesome.
Put him in a penalty box.
I like it.
Oh, that's awesome.
I don't know how you get around, but hey, it's still good. It's still very good. So yeah, but Halloween is definitely there's something about the whole rink, going to the rink on right before Halloween and all the people dressed up. I do like that. I do think.
I was in Newark, so I wasn't sure if people were dressed up or it was just another day in Newark.
They were dressed up as empty seats.
Right.
Actually,
everything was made of Kevlar.
I want to tell people the crowd was pretty good for that game in Newark, and I don't care what the announced number is or where the sold number was, but there were some real people there, and so for all the jokes, that was actually a pretty well-attended game. It wasn't sold out, and it wasn't close to a sellout.
You get a good Islander presence there, too.
There was a great Islander presence. It wasn't good. It was great.
I heard the Buffalo play-by-play announcer, or the broadcast crew comment about the fans at the game in Brooklyn on Sunday. Now I'm ready to cut. Like I said, I'm ready to cut them some slack because I think it was a 5 o'clock start, and the World Series game was at 8. So I wonder if a lot of people either were going to the World Series game or didn't want to fight the traffic and or the people on rapid transit to get to the game because everybody was going to Queens. So I mean, I know Hockey Night in Canada specified that the Islanders were 30th in the NHL. I'm waiting a little bit before I start to get concerned.
The attendance is exactly the same as it was this time last year. Did you guys hear me?
But
it
should be a little better because it's a new arena. That's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, no, I think though there's an adjustment period here too. That there is a definite convenience thing. People who don't go into the city. I mean, I grew up in the suburbs. People who don't go into the city don't go into the city. Dan's been swallowed up by monsters.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with the team. This is the Barclays people not going out and getting enough new fans in Brooklyn because there are a lot of Ranger fans in Brooklyn that they weren't going to get turned over, and there were going to be some fans from the island that weren't going to travel. They still need to reach out to a lot more new fans. There's a lot of people in Brooklyn, a lot.
Dan, you might want to log out and log in because we're losing you completely. Yeah, that's log out. I'll type him.
It's like Charlie Brown's teacher now.
Yeah, he's definitely in that one.
Yeah.
Dan. All right, because I do want to hear. I mean, he's been very good about defending this, and I do it. I mean, it is honestly. I do think there's an adjustment period. I just think there is. I just think that, you go get new fans, but that's not so easy. I mean, what you're saying there is you're converting fans because these are Ranger fans.
You got to do it.
But it's going to take time. I mean, we're 15 games into the season here. It's like that. It takes time to convert Rangers fans, and the Rangers are good right now. If the Rangers sucked right now, it'd be a different story.
It'd be easier.
I don't know what the attendance figures for the Brooklyn Nets are, but I'm sure they're probably better than they were when they were the New Jersey Nets and playing in the Meadowlands. I mean, I think one of the reasons that a couple years ago that Brooklyn went out and got Garnett and got Paul Pierce and brought all these big names in there was to spur on the fan base after they had moved. It was a new thing, and then the thing is that the Islanders really haven't. I mean. They're not going out and making any kind of big splash. They're just saying, okay, we have a good young team here with a lot of good young players, and come and see us. And I think it will take a while for them to sort of ingratiate themselves to the hockey fans who are not Ranger fans, who are not Devil fans, to get them to come in. It's going to be long, and I think it's going to be tedious. And the thing is, it might take 4 or 5 years, and then who knows, maybe they're ready to move back to Long Island after that. I still think that there is some thing going on that maybe they end up back there, and this was just sort of like a way station. But
I'm with you.
I'll give you their secret weapon. It's Josh Hosang. He's partly Jewish. You got a big Jewish neighborhood there. Market the hell out of him when he's ready to play, and then you'll get some just people who aren't generally hockey fans who are interested because he's a Jewish hockey player. They'll show up.
Russ, based on what happened in this training camp, I don't know if they'll ever play for that organization.
Well, I think he'll get another shot. I do.
Yeah, I think he will too.
They taught him a lesson. They will definitely give him a shot.
I do too. I get the impression, and because the NHL there's different ways of getting banned by the NHL forever. He hasn't really hit those. He's definitely, there's. So I was checking into this too while waiting for Dan. Someone was telling me that the goal scoring in the NHL this year, is putting us on pace to have the lowest goal totals overall since the mid-1990s.
Yeah, not shocked.
So we are, which was known as the dead puck era, and for those of us who lived through it, it was horrible. I mean, it was around here it was the decade the Devils killed hockey. Basically, that's what they called it. But that was and it wasn't really just the Devils, but it was with the Florida Panthers and other teams too that went to the trap. Mm-hmm. And we saw low scoring, but it was for very different reasons than we're seeing it now.
I can give you the reason.
Give me the reason.
We're in the video age. Goals come off the board. Offsides get taken back.
Okay, it's a couple goals.
Game planning on video every day by teams.
I think there's one word for it. I think the one word for it is goaltending is never been better in the NHL. I honestly think that.
I think that's
a part of it, but I think the video age is a big part of it.
I would give more credit to the video age in terms of the fact that teams are better suited to. There's better scouting and there's stuff like that. I do agree with that, Mike.
And to the point that Russ is saying, I mean, and I don't know if you saw this goal that was made a no goal on Friday early in the third period. Toronto and the Rangers. Joffrey Lupul, I think, scores 12 seconds into the third period. He goes into the blue paint, and his right skate hits Lundqvist's left skate. He does not make contact with him body to body. He's standing in front of him, screening him. The puck gets through Lundqvist and over the goal line, and they call it no goal because he made contact with his skate. Now, the contact with his skate did not affect Lundqvist. It didn't knock him off his skates. It didn't impede his ability to make the save. It was just incidental contact. But they said that it was contact and it was goaltender interference. When you're going down and being that particular when it comes to goaltender interference, yeah, I think you're getting into micromanaging, and I think that's a little ridiculous. And I guess they're gonna go look at that when the next board of governors.
It is definitely. It is. I know. I agree, and they're gonna look at it. And there's also. Sorry, Dan, we got you back there. But we were just discussing, and then I do want to get your word on this on the Islanders thing. But we're discussing the decline of goal scoring, which basically we're on pace right now for the lowest goal trend since the dead puck era of the Devils in the mid '90s. One of the reasons I was told too, and this is an interesting thing, is that power play opportunities per game in 2005 were right around 5. So you would have like roughly between the two teams you'd have 5 power plays per game. Now they're just over 3.5. So
I'll tell you why. There's one thing, the glaring thing to me that has changed in this game.
Okay.
They do not call interference anymore. You can pick wherever you want almost.
That's true.
Especially off of face-offs. They just do. This league does not consistently call interference. Although they did Saturday. They did Saturday in the Islanders Devils game. Although then last night you watched the Islanders Sabres, and those same plays were not called.
Yeah.
And there are teams that pick on almost every face-off.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you don't see the guys slowing people down before. That was the big thing you used to have. That's not happening. But also, I honestly think the no touch icing has also played into it, and I don't think of it in the ways that people necessarily think of it, because I think it's a good thing that players aren't getting hurt. But I also do see players letting up more on icings. There's no way I can beat the guy to the circle. Like where you used to think, well, maybe I can, and they'll give him a shot because there's less time, so you know whether or not you can beat a guy to the circle. Before, you didn't know whether or not you could beat a guy to the puck when it was behind the goal. Like that was something you saw. But yeah, so here's the exact numbers. 3 in 2005-06, 3.8 goals per game was the average an NHL team would score. On 5 point, the average amount of goals per game. Let's see. In the 2005 NHL season, had teams averaging 3.08 goals per game and the average amount of 5.85 power play opportunities per game. All right, so that's that. So now where we are in 2014, 2.65 goals per game with 3.07. So like more than two less in 10 years, more than 2 less power plays per game.
Yeah, but 2005, 2006 was the dawn of the, it was after the lockout.
Oh yeah, that was a crazy year. I grant.
It was a crazy year, and I think
we had 100 points.
It was an outlier of things. When you have a bunch of midgets on the Buffalo Sabres, getting to the conference final and almost getting to the Stanley Cup final, when before that the Sabres were one of the most undersized and ineffective teams in the league. I mean, there was a different game after the lockout, and I think they were calling. Specifically, they were calling a lot more penalties. They were enforcing those interference rules. I saw players, in the game on Saturday, hindering attacking offensive forwards from going into the corner and getting the puck. They're not calling the interference as much. They're allowing those players to be slowed up.
A lot of holding.
They're also allowing those players to be slowed up to protect the defensemen from getting run. So I think that's a part of it too. And honestly, with all the potential litigation regarding concussions and things of that nature, I think the league is going down that road because they don't want these players to get hurt. So I think they're loosening the interpretation of interference to protect some of the players. But it's coming at the cost of goal scoring.
Yeah. No, I think that's really true. But I did think we would see more goal scoring with the 3-on-3 overtimes, though. I thought that would increase, the number a little bit because we are seeing. I mean, you're not seeing more games, more goals. You're not seeing more goals in terms of overall goals because the games are still ending 3-2. But we should possibly see a 50 goal scorer like we discussed. Like it's possible that we could get, because when a lot of these 50 goal scorers, the blame for no 50 goal scorers is the lack of power plays. And I do think that's true because obviously those are the kind of guys who would be out on the power play, right? But yeah, the numbers are crazy decreasing.
I just to move on to a different subject. Looking at the standings this morning, and getting ready to write my column on the Leafs. I look at the teams that most of us and most everybody thought were going to be the bottom 5 teams in the league right now. New Jersey is 2 games over 500. Arizona is at 500. Carolina is a couple games under 500. They're all overachieving from what most people thought that they were going to do.
Yeah.
And Toronto is 1-7-2. And if you look at their schedule over the next couple weeks, I don't see where they're going to win. It's they're playing Dallas a couple times, Washington, Detroit, Winnipeg. I mean, their schedule is ridiculously tough. And Mike Babcock is already taking heat on himself. He's saying, part of this is my fault. He's taking responsibility. He's protecting his players from, criticism, because I think what the end goal is here is to get as much as he can, get as much out of these players as he can, and then try to move some of these players out and get as much for them later in the year. So right now, everything is going to plan in Toronto, and I don't think it's going to plan in those other teams. Those other teams are trying.
No, there's one thing too though that the Maple Leafs are not getting that those teams that are overachieving are getting. They're getting very good goaltending.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Yeah, I mean they've only scored 20 goals, the Maple Leafs. That's lowest in the league, I believe. No, 14. So Anaheim scored 14, right? Besides the freaky Anaheim situation.
Yeah, Toronto has the least amount of wins in the league. They have 1, and even Columbus has 2. And only because Columbus has played 2 more games is Toronto not in last place. But the thing is, you look at the teams that are down at the bottom of the league right now, and it's only 10 games. But if you look at Calgary, Colorado, they have they're having their struggles, but I think they're better teams than their record right now. And Anaheim and Columbus are much better teams than their record. But right now, Toronto, at the record they're at, is about where everybody thought Toronto was going to be.
Actually, doesn't it work the other way because Columbus has played 2 more games? That helps them. I mean, that helps that. I mean, Columbus has played 2 more games and have the same amount of points as.
They played 12. They played 12 games. The Leafs have played 10.
Yeah, so that makes Columbus worse.
Right.
They're 30th right now.
But I mean that makes them a lot worse because they had potential of 2 more points.
Sure.
Right.
So it's not.
I think they're a much better team. I think they've dramatically underachieved. They've already changed the coach. It's going to take a little while.
There's no question. I mean, the expectations are there. I know. Right. And Anaheim is, Calgary is the myth. I mean, Calgary is the bizarre team because they've given up 50 goals. They are by far the team that's given up the most goals in the league. Columbus has given up 46.
Wow.
Yeah, they've given up 50 goals. Calgary.
Of all those teams that I mentioned, I think the one that is going to struggle near the bottom of the league, Arizona, Carolina, New Jersey, they may come back down a bit. Maybe they're overachieving, but Colorado is the one that I think might be down there.
I think you're right. I think they're where they are. I think that's about right. I mean, Calgary. I think Calgary's going to finish in this area too. I really do. I just think that.
I still think they're a playoff team.
I don't. I mean, at this point, they've played 12 games and they've given up, and their goal differential is a -23. They're almost 2 goals worse.
They really need someone that can stop the puck.
Yeah,
they really do.
And Jonas Hiller got hurt
late
last week, and they had to call up Ramo from the AHL. So
right. Yeah, no, they've got real issues. Of course, Carey Price is hurt, so that's the other news today. Mr. Karski was brought up again from the minors.
And Mike Condon played last night against Winnipeg, and they got a victory. And
he's played well.
Yeah, and Price is only supposed to be out for a week, and I think it's a case of them being extra careful, and that makes a lot of sense. But again, Montreal is winning because they're getting offense out of players that I didn't expect them to get offense from.
Yeah.
And when they come down, like Russ was saying about Boston, or maybe it was Dan that said it about Boston. When they come down to earth, it's a question of whether they can still win.
It was Dan.
It was Dan. Okay.
So we were having a good discussion before we end the show. We were Dan and Russ were having a good discussion when Dan got eaten by aliens. I want to finish this thought. Russ's point. Russ was saying that they haven't done enough to get new fans out. But they haven't done enough marketing to get new people out. My point is it's a little early for that, and that they're converting people.
Well, I think it's a few things. I think there's a few factors. I think part of it is New York's a city that gets easily distracted. And believe me, people are really distracted with the Mets. I couldn't, like, there's people who wouldn't go to Ranger games. Like, I was trying to get rid of some Rangers tickets, and they're like, yeah, we're watching the Mets. We're watching the Mets. Huh. So I think New York is very easily distracted. I think the Barclays Center it's gotten the Islanders in the news more, but they've not done a good job of pulling in new fans. They've done a horrible job of presenting the game and reaching and keeping the game the same. And they've done a horrific job of treating the existing Islander fans. They basically have made Islander fans feel like they're sleeping on the Nets futon in the basement. I'm serious. They've done a horrible job. Just like, for example, trying to monetize the pregame skate. Like only 91 season ticket holders can buy a $12 pass to go down below before the game. Well, I think the league needs to squash that. That's ridiculous.
Well, ridiculous. I brought it up a couple times, and I know it's maybe it's a bit passé, but they have to get rid of the truck.
I know.
That looks so minor league to have a.
He's a good follow on Twitter though. Oh, he's a funny follow on Twitter. Oh yeah, I highly recommend you guys follow Isles White SUV. He's a good follow.
I mean, it's so minor league. It's so ridiculous.
It's not. It reminds me of World Championships. It reminds me of Europe. I've never seen a car in a minor league arena.
I like it. I'm gonna be different. I like it. I think it's corny and weird, and it's so weird that it has a weird Brooklyn-y retro feel to it that I kind of like. I don't know what it is.
The number one priority needs to be improving that ice right now. That ice is awful.
Yeah, no, the ice is definitely a big issue, especially when you have a young, fast team like they have. They need to be able to take advantage of that. Russ?
Here's what I would do. Like if I were in marketing there, I would go around. There's a lot of schools in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Start a program where if kids get an A average, they
don't care about that, Russ. They want people in suits spending $1,000 in the lower section. They don't give a shit.
I know.
Excuse my French. They don't give a shit about you or me or blue collar people or kids working in the schools. They don't. They don't care about.
You're right, but they should.
Right.
Because that's a pretty sweet market if they started like a program with some of those schools to say, hey, these kids get an A average, they can get 30, 40% off select games, and we get people in there. They got to get other people other than corporate people in there.
And they have no hockey people working for them.
That's a quarter in the swear jar for you, Dan.
That's right.
I could have been worse.
I took 5 years of French.
I apologize, but it's the right way.
Yeah, I don't think that's French. I took 5 years, but
a couple little news items here, Rack. Let me just.
First off, I wanted to touch base on this. The Buffalo News reporting now that Patrick Kane will not be criminally charged in the rape investigations that were ongoing.
Alright, so that's all over. We can move on.
Which is not a surprise after
sort of becoming apparent because of how quiet it got, right? I mean, it got really quiet.
It got quiet for over a month, especially after when Russ and I were at the All-American Prospects game and the lawyer for the accused or the accuser's family quit.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have confidence of what was going on. I mean, the writing was on the wall there, and it was eerily silent. So you got the feeling that was coming down. Ottawa's Mark Stone has been suspended 2 games by the NHL for a hit to the head of Landon Ferraro of the Detroit Red Wings. And here's the most anticlimactic announcement: the Rookie of the Month is Connor McDavid of the.
I thought it was Slepyshev.
Well, Connor's been amazing. I mean, he's really picked it up, and he's been very good. I keep all these people sending me, who's better now, McDavid or Eichel? You can just stop sending them.
They're both good.
It's a long season.
Why can't they both be good? They're both really good.
They're both really good, and they're both in different situations.
They're different players. You shouldn't compare them. They're different.
And so
players.
is Max Domi, and so is Dylan Larkin.
Yeah, the Calder is going to be insane. I mean, with those 4 and 4, 5, 6. I mean,
all right, so we got a couple cards for you guys.
Yep.
I got that here.
to end the show. And I'm going to start with a Hartford Whalers one because in honor of our friend Dan, who's here, who's a big-time Hartford Whaler.
Gabrios?
No.
Nelson Emerson.
This guy was an assistant captain for the Whalers.
Andrew Castles.
Damn.
Wow.
Wow.
All right, Andrew Castles. All right, next up.
Neil Broughton, like I didn't even get a chance.
Yeah,
Let me show you a picture and tell me who it is.
Jeff Sanderson's designated center.
Yes, you're right.
Who is that?
Darley
Zalapsky.
Carson.
Jimmy Carson.
Wow.
So I didn't even remember him being a Whaler.
I
He's
do.
like a savant.
He is. That's good. I wish I had more Whalers, but I don't. But here we go. So this is an old pro stat. I guess the pro stat did these really old cards.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Is that the Barocco goal in 1951?
That's man, oh man.
Wow.
Do we have a good group or what? Holy
I
cow!
thought it was Russ's high school games.
Bill Barelko. The end of the innocence on the back of here it says, although he was not noted for his offensive skills, Bill Barelko scored one of the most celebrated goals in NHL history during the 1951 Stanley Cup Finals between Toronto and Montreal.
He was on a fishing trip. The last goal he ever scored.
Yeah.
Won the Leafs the cup. That's
Right.
All downhill since then.
Right.
Maybe he shouldn't have gone fishing.
He disappeared that summer on a fishing trip, and the Leafs didn't win another cup until 1962.
Yep. Thank
The
you.
year his
Thank
body
you.
was found. I don't think that's necessary to add in there, but yes, sorry, that's
You have to add it. It's part of the lore.
It
Yeah.
is.
okay. So here's a player. This is a really weird picture of him, so I'm going to show you because we'll never get it from this picture.
Well, his name's on the card. I already know it.
Oh shoot!
Know the name. Wow.
It's Dean
I
McCann.
got the. Yeah. Okay. Dean McCammon. Okay, Dean McCammon.
I always refer to Dean McCammon as the designated concussion person.
Oh,
And by
That's
far,
all he was a professional victim. He always got. Remember the flying body wedge by Steve Downey? It was Dean McCammon.
I do remember that. Yes, yes.
Really good skater.
1990.
He was.
This is 1991. During his rookie year, I guess. It was called the Speedy Center, part of the Oilers' Young New Core. He was a draft pick of the Black.
Selling that all these years later.
Yeah,
Yeah,
who wrote
because
the
of
back of that
Blackhawks.
card?
The
Played
man
for-
could never protect himself. He was a professional victim.
And he
He was.
probably played for 8 teams. He played a lot of places.
Calgary, I think, was one of
He
them.
played in Ottawa. Remember,
Ottawa.
the Ottawa Chris Pronger. We'll never forget the Ottawa Stanley Cup final with Dean McCammon getting leveled by Chris Pronger.
He got
yeah.
destroyed by Chris Pronger.
And that was a big moment in that series.
It was.
And then Dean McCammon ended up as a teammate of Chris Pronger's, right, in Philly.
And he hit him then.
And Dean McCammon was like one of those guys you always wonder, like, why is this too talented to be traded as often as he was? And there's a story behind why he got traded, but I'm not gonna share it.
He's the Canadian Mikhail Grabowski.
No, there was something about him. So anyway, here's a good one. Picture.
Wow, that was a bad stash too.
I can see
Show
it.
it again, Eck. It cut away from you.
Trying to cover this.
Winnipeg Jet.
Dan's
it was
like
a jet. I mean,
slowly passing.
Say something, Eck. There you go.
it's not Howard Chuck.
22.
Stan Smeal?
No. 22. It's
Musil?
not Dave Babbage was 44.
Yeah, Babbage is 44 always.
It wasn't Morris the Cat Lukowicz.
I don't know that one.
Looks like my dentist.
What era, Eck? What
He
era?
broke into the league as in 1986, 87, I want to say. I need to bring my spectacles down here. For the Pittsburgh Penguins. He broke in as a Pittsburgh Penguin. He then moved on to Edmonton, Minnesota, Philadelphia, and then Winnipeg.
No idea.
Yeah.
Oh, you know this guy. This guy's is both of his names start with the same letter. I'll give you that one.
Mm.
First name and last name.
It's not Zarley Zalapsky.
Oh, God. Don't talk about bad Whalers.
Drafted 23rd overall in 1980
Don't know.
Now,
by the Jets, by the way. I just read that in the reverse order.
great. What is it? Who is it?
Yeah.
Mo Mantha. Come on.
Oh,
man.
Mo Mantha.
Mo Mantha. That's easy.
Who's no relation to Anthony Mantha?
None. I get asked that once a week.
How's he doing down in the AHL?
He's doing good,
struggling.
actually.
He's picking it up.
He's picking it up. We
Oh yes, but
had Tyler Wright on our show talking about him, and He said that his all-around game now is much better, and he's
Good.
really doing what the Red Wings want him to do.
Talk about the apple not falling far from the tree. Tyler Bertuzzi, the nephew of Todd Bertuzzi, was suspended for a slew foot and punch-up of Kasperi Kapanen on Friday. I mean, you know, my goodness. I mean, what is this family thing?
No, that was crazy.
I was wondering if Steve Moore was in the building.
He's a better player than that play, I will tell you that.
Yeah. All right, finally, the last one of the day. This, before Jonathan Taves was number 19 on the Blackhawks, this man was number 19. That's my first guess.
Kyle Calder.
No, before that.
Before Kyle Calder.
This is in 1992-93.
Mark Bell.
He was picked up from the Hartford Whalers by the Chicago Blackhawks.
I gotta see a pic. Can I see a picture?
I think you got it already, Dan.
92, 93.
Say something.
Is that Darren Turcotte?
No.
He didn't play for the Blackhawks. No,
He was a Ranger.
You have to say something because the camera won't cut to you.
Yeah, it's whoever's
Oh,
talking.
sorry. Okay, I'm talking while I'm doing this. Here we go. Wrap it up.
Keep talking.
Troy Murray.
Okay. No.
I always
I
thought
didn't realize it worked that way. It's interesting. So it's not just whoever I have on camera.
now I can see a little bit.
This is me talking here. He now is still very, very active.
Murray Craven.
No.
30.
Good call, though.
He was always 32.
He was very good defensively in Stratomatic. He was a center. He was always a forward defense. Mike.
It's not Tom Lysiak.
I think of him really as a Whaler. He really didn't play much in Chicago.
Dean Evison?
No.
Nelson? No, not Nelson Emerson.
This is 1994, but he played definitely.
This is gonna kill me because when you're giving me four defensive rating.
What years was he with the Whalers?
He was in the. It says 92-93 was his last year with the Whalers. He was with the Whalers for a lot longer than that, though. He was with the Whalers. I think of him as like probably an original Whaler. He probably 92. He was probably like there about 10 years.
Okay. God, how do I not know this?
Yeah, this is definitely. I'll find out how many years he played with him right now.
It's not John Cullen.
I know that people out there watching this, they're like freaking out, right? He is still a big part of hockey. That's the thing.
Dave Tippett?
No, we still talk about him. No, that's a good guess, but no, that's not a good guess. That's a good guess. That is a good guess. All right, I will tell you his career here.
Randy
He started off as an Ottawa 67. Okay, so he was there from 79 to 81. He was a pretty good scorer, but not a great scorer. 63 games, 41 points. He was drafted in the 8th round, 167th overall by Scotty Bowman of the Buffalo Sabres in the 1980 NHL draft.
Oh.
All right.
Oh no.
All right. He played then from 80 to 85.
Mike, didn't die. He's just giving clues.
From 80 to 85, he played with the Sabres and the Rochester Americans, back and forth.
Randy Cunneyworth?
Yes, Randy Cunneyworth. There you go.
Bingo! I knew it. Yeah, it had to be.
Randy Cunneyworth. Suffered a serious eye injury after being hit by Barry Melrose. That's crazy.
Oh, wow.
Weird things.
How did Barry Melrose hit anybody?
Yeah.
I know. Isn't that strange?
His hair probably hit him.
Barry Melrose high stick during a 1981 preseason game.
Wow.
His hair is made of steel wool, so it's a weapon.
Yes, right. Now I know. So, but he did. Yeah, he had it, and then it was with the Penguins from 85 to 89, and then the Jets in 89. But then Whalers from 89 to 94. So I was wrong. He was with their next.
See, it helps to give us accurate.
Well, this is what's strange about this, okay? Because all right.
I had Cunneyworth in my head. I just said yeah.
There's a reason ProSet failed. That's the reason.
Okay.
All right, but this is the
Your
weird
odds
thing.
are failing too.
Because he's in a Chicago Blackhawks where he was in
That's
'94.
Donruss, though. That's a Donruss card.
Yeah, it is. You're right.
I don't remember him with Chicago. That was what threw me off.
But you definitely remember him as a Stratomatic player with Hartford.
Oh, yeah.
I remember as a Whaler. Yeah, absolutely.
He was a 1-4-1, none-pass, good penalty killer. You know, he's
Right.
a down.
He was always hurt.
Always.
I didn't play Stratomatic hockey. I didn't.
You're
He
lost.
played under Coach Paul Holmgren from 1992 to 93.
I'm sorry. Stratomatic said the Mets were going to win the next 3. They said it, and they were wrong. And my post was, this is the 21st century. We're not talking about antiquated board games anymore.
They did it just to increase your misery.
Yeah.
Do you know who he was traded to Chicago for? Because he finished in Chicago. No, he actually finished in Ottawa. Man.
Yeah. He was he was a captain of the Senators.
And then went back to Buffalo. Jeez, I forgot about that. Wow.
I don't know who he was traded for.
All right, so he was traded for František Kuchera.
Oh, God, Frankie. I remember Frankie.
And Jocelyn Lemieux.
Oh,
Jocelyn Lemieux, wow.
They both ended up there, yeah. But I will always associate him with the Hartford Whalers, even though he only played there 5 years. I don't know why. That's the team I put him with.
Jocelyn Lemieux is the brother of Claude Lemieux, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well, that Whalers team won a Stanley Cup for me in Stratomatic. That's why.
I was gonna say just for you, nobody else.
Yeah, no, they were. They did. They were a good team. That was a good. And he was a big part of it because he was. Yeah, but they lost in the first round to the Canadiens there in his final year. But that was a good time.
I have two words they'll make you miserable, Dan. Mike Liut.
Oh,
Yeah, Dan's frozen on that one.
that's it. You froze him with that.
I know. All right, guys. All the time we have for today. Thanks. Sorry, we went a little bit long here. Hope everybody's okay. With that, we will be back again tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel. Remember, without the buzz, it is just hockey. Talk to you soon. Enjoy the game.